you have plain text capital. What is this? What is plain text capital?
Yeah, so Plaintext is a crypto liquid fund started 4 years ago now by three partners. Um, that's really focused on decoding crypto investing, right? So kind of that's where the name's derived, is um, bringing light into what is kind of like a very obfuscated area generally, right? In crypto, the jargon's confusing, everything on chain is confusing, and um, our goal is to kind of provide a way for people to safely invest in crypto. So we have currently one vehicle, a liquid vehicle, where we invest kind of all across the space, but definitely have had a focus in AI and Deepin, and Solana really. Have invested in Bittensor in the past, and as of late focused pretty intensely on the agent space, but kind of always looking for new themes and opportunities.
And this investment vehicle, it's not like a traditional fund. It's a liquid fund. So you only trade things that are, I guess, publicly traded, right?
Yeah, correct. So anything that we trade is anything that anybody can trade, which is, I think, is really cool. I did some work in the venture space before, assisting the DCG venture team, and I learned a ton there and really liked it. But I think what I really like about the liquid markets is that everybody has equal access, and it's really PvP in that sense, right?
Yeah. As a former college athlete, I bet you love that. It's more competition.
Yeah, I need to find competition somehow, right?
Yeah. So how do people invest with you guys? Like, do you guys have a token and they just buy your token and then you go trade those funds? How does it work?
That's actually, an interesting idea. So it's a pretty standard hedge fund at this point. So, we have LPs who give us money, and then we invest on their behalf.
There you go. And then what is the strategy? You said you guys focus on AI, Deepin, and Solana. What is your investment strategy? What is your, I guess, investment thesis that you guys attack the markets?
So I think we have really focused on and done a really good job of asset selection. That's kind of our strengths, determining really what themes we see emerging in the space, and then what themes we think will get a lot of attention, and then identifying assets within those themes that we think will be the top performing assets of those themes. So it's really fundamental based. There's sort of a quant overlay that we use to kind of define the timing of the market that we feel, and then use that to inform our allocations at the individual asset level.
And then from that timing perspective, roughly how active are these funds being traded? Like, are you in and out of trades in the same day, in the same week, same month?
Yeah, so good question. We generally invest over in crypto what's considered long time frames, 6 to 12 months or longer periods. So not really high frequency trading or really looking to make trades, very much so looking to make investments.
Got it. Yeah. 6 to 12 months is a long time in the crypto world.
Everything changes fast.
Yeah. And virtuals, I think in 6 months was up like 10,000% or something nuts.
Yeah. Yep. It's wild. It really is. The moves that assets in crypto make is something that just blows traditional finance out of the water. There's nothing like it.
I assume that's what attracted you to start a liquid venture fund and not a traditional venture fund?
Yeah, so I joined Plaintext in June after working at Foundry, which is the DCG subsidiary that everybody certainly in the Bittensor space is well aware of. And so Plaintext had been around for 3 years prior to me doing liquid investing. And that's a big part of my decision to get into or to join Plaintext was around exactly the liquid concept. That's what really, really excited me. I think that if you zoom out at the kind of look at the entirety of crypto, I think the space has in the early stages had a ton of VC success, but I think is really oversaturated right now in the venture capital arena. And so the liquid markets I find way more appealing, and yeah, plenty of space to make really, really outsized returns.
There you go. And you mentioned you used to be a part of Foundry, DCG. Was that how you first got involved with Bittensor? What was your first involvement with the Bittensor network?
Yeah. So I actually I have a background in physics and machine learning, originally doing object detection work in the defense industry. And I quickly saw the power of machine learning and was like, this is a really scary tool to be controlled by governments or by a few like private corporations, right? So I wanted something, I wanted to stay in the machine learning arena kind of, but also in a way that it kind of democratized access to it rather than controlled it. So I found a job posting at Foundry to work in decentralized machine learning. I honestly jumped on the opportunity. I was really excited. Foundry was doing a ton of stuff. Obviously, Foundry main focus is Bitcoin mining, but they were doing a ton of kind of R&D projects, staking in a bunch of different protocols, ecosystem work across a bunch of different protocols, and then staking with Bittensor that ended up kind of carving out into doing a lot in that decentralized AI space, supplying compute to Akash, buying data center grade GPUs, hosting them and supplying them to different decentralized protocols, running authority nodes for the Open Tensor Foundation, validating on the network, mining on the network. So it ended up being at first a small project and then exploding into not only a ton of different things in the Bittensor ecosystem, but a ton of different things across the entirety of the decentralized AI space.
So were you the decentralized AI, I guess, lead in Foundry? Is that what your role was?
So I guess I kind of wore a bunch of different hats. I definitely for a period of time was doing that. It was just something that really excited me, I think. And I was really passionate about the space, still am. And so, yeah, I took ownership of it and felt like I had a lot of conviction that space would be really exciting, right? Like when I was first working on Bittensor, it was something that very few people cared about. Nobody really cared about decentralized AI. I remember at ETH Denver 2 years ago, there was almost nothing. There was almost nothing AI related. And then last year it felt like it was all AI related. So I watched that transformation. And it was really cool to see that transformation, right? Being there before, having a lot of conviction in something, kind of on the company side, like committing to it, saying, like, I really want to make this work at Foundry. And Foundry was great about like supporting that and committing resources to that. And watching that transition was really, really cool. And also being active and having kind of a input into how that transition happened and being able to supply compute and engineering time to these, what I think are really important projects.
So 2 years ago at ETH Denver, you said it was very minimal.
Yeah.
Very minimal AI. And then now it's AI's the buzzword, the hot topic.
For sure.
Do you think there was like any singular point that like shifted the tone of the market?
Sure. I think there were a few catalysts, right? ChatGPT being released, I think opened a bunch of people's eyes up to the power of AI. It was really, I think, cool to people that hadn't seen it, but then also scary to people that kind of thought about the second and third order effects of the power of these things. So that kind of coming into brought, I think, AI into the focus a bit. And then, what happened with Sam Altman, I think in October of 2 years ago, October of 23, with, when he was removed from OpenAI and then came back. Like, I think that raised a lot of red flags for people and really made people focus on the regulatory issues and also just kind of the long-term safety implications of AI. And I think that's when people said, all right, where can we allocate capital in order to protect this decentralized AI future and kind of bet against regulatory capture. And that's where Bittensor, I think, started to get a lot of excitement, and then also pulled a bunch of projects up with it and kind of made the space a really, a really strong space, a leader in crypto.